Hey, friend. Welcome back. So, today's episode is going to be a little bit different. It's going to hit home really for anyone who's felt chained to a timeline, a calendar, or I'm going to give you the moment we all say, I should be farther along by now, right? Show of hands. If you're driving, keep two hands on the wheel. But we all say it, right? I should have been farther along. If I would have just insert whatever it is. If I would have just ignored whatever it is, I could have put more effort into this thing. Well, today we're going to talk all about it. We're going to talk about goal setting, but with a twist. Because here's the thing, what if the secret to achieving your big, audacious dreams was actually letting go of the timeline? Let's get into it. Ever wonder what it really takes to build a business and a life that feels like yours? Welcome to That Big CEO Energy. I'm Callie, entrepreneur, operations whiz, and your go-to for the real, raw, and unfiltered side of business and life. Because let's be honest, entrepreneurship isn't just about strategy and success. It's about figuring out who you are in the messy middle, trying new things, well, just because you can, and creating a life that actually fits you. From solo deep dives to candid convos with powerhouse business owners, we're talking all about the highs and the lows and the why did no one warn me about this moments that come while chasing big dreams. So let's get uncomfortable, embrace the chaos, and make it happen. Let's start with this truth bomb. Setting timelines can sabotage the very goals they're supposed to support. I'm going to say that again. Setting timelines can sabotage the very goals they're supposed to support. We've all done it, right? We get out our goals. I'll hit 6 figures by the end of Q2. I'll lose 20 pounds by summer. I'll have the website, the brand, the launch, and the 10 clients, all the stuff and things by next month, which, by the way, it's only 4 weeks long. I don't know who you're trying to cop out with that one. And then what happens? Life happens. Your kid gets sick. The client ghosts you. Your nervous system says absolutely not. And suddenly, you're not just adjusting, you're spiraling. And what are you doing when you're spiraling? You're questioning your worth. You're wondering if you are even cut out for this. But here's the thing. The timeline isn't the goal, right? The timeline isn't the goal. The goal is the transformation. The goal is where we're getting to. The goal is 6 figures. The goal is 20 pounds. The goal is the website, the brand, the launch, and the 10 clients. Do you see the difference? We're not putting a timeline on it. We're focusing on what the actual goal is. Because the timeline is just your ego trying to project manage. Your timeline is just your ego trying to project manage. And if you're a Jesus girl or a God girl, then you know that the timeline is your ego just trying to project manage what God is already doing. And if you're a universe girly, then the timeline is just your ego trying to project manage what the universe is doing. Same. Not even going to argue about it. But either way, the timeline is your ego. The timeline is, we all do it. I'm going to start eating better on Monday. So what do? We buy all the healthy things. We fill our cabinets. We go through our fridge and we pull out all the things that are bad for us. We throw them away. And then Sunday night, after it's been a really long weekend, all you want is ice cream. That's it. That's all you want is ice cream. You don't have any. You've prepared yourself for starting this next journey. So what do? You get in the car and you go get ice cream. That is your timeline and your ego trying to project manage. That is exactly what you're doing, because here's the thing. What is the project? The project is that you're going to eat healthier on Monday. Yeah. So you've prepared all the things, but in your brain, you're like, well, technically, I don't start till Monday. So I could go and get ice cream today because that doesn't count. You've set in your brain, I'm not going to do the thing until Monday, but we're self-sabotaging in between Sunday afternoon and Monday. Why? Because when we put dates on things, before we reach the date, we often find ourselves adjusting what is happening, right? And justifying what is going down. But your goal should have two things. And I want you to write these down. And if you're driving, come back and go to the show notes and I'll have them there for you. A goal should have two things. A goal should give you direction, and a goal should anchor you in intention. That's it. It's not a promise. It's not a punishment. It's not a countdown clock. A goal says, here's where I'm going. But how you get there, how long it takes, that gets to be flexible. Think of your goal as the North Star. It doesn't move. It doesn't waver. It guides. But if there's a storm, you take shelter. If your boat needs repair, you don't take it out into the ocean with a hole in the bottom, but you never forget where you're headed. So I want you to ask yourself, is my goal serving me or is it suffocating me? Do I have too much in this goal? Am I restricting myself from enjoying the process or learning more about myself within the goal by giving myself a date attached to it? Your goal should do two things. It should give you direction, not a timeline, and anchor you in intention. Your intention in what you do matters. If you show up because you have to and not because you want to, you don't get what the goal is trying to teach you. All instead is what you get is trying to reach the goal line to say that you've met the timeline. Let me walk you through a more aligned, sustainable goal setting process. And this is the one that I have started to really implement in my own life and started to use even with my clients. And I call it this: set the goal, drop the deadline, anchor the why. So here's how it works. We're going to set a clear, emotionally driven goal, not I want 10 clients. That doesn't tell me anything. It doesn't tell me about what type of clients that you're looking for. It doesn't tell me about who is going to be aligned to you. So instead, we should say, I want to work with 10 aligned humans I can serve deeply while maintaining my peace and presence at home. Because here's the thing, if we attach nothing of ourselves to the timeline, then what happens? Resentment. That's exactly what happens. We end up resenting that we asked for the 10 clients to appear, and when they do, now we have all of this work, and your home is in chaos, you're in chaos, you're no longer peaceful, and then you're like, why did I even sign up for this? Well, you asked for it. You did all the work to get to it, and then sometimes the humans that you have are not actually the humans that you should be having. We've all been there. You know what I'm talking about. So set a clear, emotionally driven goal, right? Not I want 10 clients. We're going to say I want to work with 10 aligned humans that you can do what? Serve deeply while doing what? Maintaining my peace and my presence at my home. Next, we're going to drop the deadline. I know it's probably making all you inner type A people twitch. Like you probably are like, yeah, no, I can't do that. But you can. You can. Because deadlines are for the finer projects. Deadlines are for the things that while you are involved with the 10 clients, you create the deadlines there. But transformations don't work on timelines. I'm sorry. I hate to break it to you. But when you drop the deadline, you drop the shame spiral too. You do. When you drop whatever it is and you let all of your hard work come to the surface without you trying to manage it, there's no shame involved. Instead, if you are manipulating the things that happen to get the 10 clients to do the thing, and when it doesn't happen by the deadline that you've set, what happens? And as women, we know exactly what happens. We internalize it. What could I have done better? Why didn't this thing happen? Maybe I wasn't ready. Maybe I don't have a good enough brand. Maybe I don't have a good enough ask. Maybe my product isn't good. Maybe I need to do something completely different. When the reality is that you didn't give the transformation enough time to work. You didn't give the transformation enough time to figure out if it was even worth what you were doing or not. Because you set it for like the next week or 4 weeks out or even 6 months out for some things. It just depends on what your goal was, right? But when you drop the deadline and you let the transformation work, there's the difference. You can give yourself deadlines for finer projects in terms of we're taking the big goal, right? And we're saying, this is what I would like to accomplish, but here is what I need to do today. Maybe it is readjusting the emails that are going out. Maybe it is recording a series of podcasts so that those are automated so you can work on the other thing, right? Like those are the little things that you can give yourself deadlines for, which is like, I need to record by Friday so that they can be edited by Monday and then, uploaded by Wednesday. Like that's fine. Do that. But when we say, I want to get 10 clients or I want to have 500 email subscribers by Q2, are you going to go and find 500 people by yourself and put them in for you? Because that's exactly what you're going to have to do in order to make sure that those 500 people are on your email list. You can't guarantee that, right? So drop the deadline. Number 3, anchor the why. Don't just say it out loud. Don't just write it in your pretty journal and then I'm going to revisit it next year. That is a daily practice. When you anchor yourself in the why, and you return to your why often, here's what happens. When motivation wanes, or when the path takes a detour, we get to ask ourselves, what is the feeling I'm chasing? What part of me wants to be expressed in this goal? Do I feel like I am chasing the deadline, or do I feel like I'm chasing the transformation? And I'll tell you that when your motivation does wane, and it will, and you don't have enough determination because it's attached to the deadline and not the transformation, and when the path either starts to slow, it looks different, you end up feeling like a failure. You end up feeling like you are chasing the feeling of success. And I'm going to put success in quotes, societal success, instead of chasing the parts of you that you want to be expressed in success. Not everybody's going to feel that way when their path takes a detour, right? Or when their goal looks a little bit different. But here's the thing, there is so much power in letting the transformation be so much different than you ever imagined. There's such cool things that happen when you release all of the dictation that you have to do in order to make the deadline and let the transformation do the little bits and pieces that are trickled to you daily, do those things to, help further the transformation along. That's where the real magic happens. And I'll bet if we lean into that, there you will find so many cool things that you've never even discovered about yourself, or the people around you, or the clients that come to you organically. So again, anchor the why. And I want you to build, and this is number 4, build rituals, not checklists. Instead of, I must do X by Y, create daily and weekly rituals that move you toward the goal. So here's an example. Instead of get 5 sales calls this week, okay, try this. Connect with 3 humans this week who I genuinely want to serve. Do you see the difference? We're not just having 5 conversations that we're like hoping might turn into clients. What we're doing is we're connecting with humans that align with what we're after, align with who we are as a person, and who we genuinely want to serve, so that we now are moving toward our goal. Because you can get 10 clients all day long. You can get 10 clients every week. But if they are not truly aligned to who you are and how you serve them and what your intentionality is, those 10 clients will go away in the next 30 days. Those 10 clients will be replaced. You know what I'm saying? Like, it just becomes this revolving door of the same 10 clients. However, when you connect with 3 humans that are genuinely people who you want to serve, that align with your values, your core brand, all the stuff that you have put out into the world, those 3 humans are with you for the long haul. I've gone through this. I have had clients where, like, in the first month, I'm like, nope, this is not my person. Absolutely not. And I'll tell you, the people that I have right now, there are a few of them that have been with me since Cal & Co has opened that really have helped me share who I am and what is in alignment for me. And it has then taught me what kind of people I want to have moving forward. And so it's not this, I must be able to do X by Y. I must be able to get 10 people by the end of the week. What has happened now is I've created these daily and weekly rituals where I have been able to slow down enough to say, like, what are the parts and pieces that I actually enjoy? And where are the people that fall into what I enjoy giving that they may need? And when I do that, when I really soak into that work, most of what happens is the clients that I lean into that, when they're having conversations and it organically comes up that that person needs X, Y, and Z, they're like, oh my gosh, yes. Do you know what? I have a person. I have a person. And then that person automatically is aligned to what I'm doing because they've already had a pre-conversation about what she needs and why I fall into that. And it's not showcased because I'm out on social media telling people what I can do and all the things. And sometimes you might need to do that. That is sometimes for you, but most of the time it is good, genuine people that are already my clients that run into other people, and that is where the transformation is taking place. It is not me cramming my calendar with 5 sales calls a week. It's literally connecting with people as they come into my orbit who I genuinely want to serve. And guess what? 9 out of 10 times, I'm turning them over into a client. And it's the most beautiful thing because they get somebody who is genuinely excited about the work that they're doing, that has the expertise in what they're asking for. And then I get somebody who is just as jazzed to have me. And there's synergy there. But that wouldn't be able to happen if I was just sales call after sales call after sales call after sales call after sales call. It just doesn't work that way. So to recap, number 1, we're going to set a clear, emotionally driven goal. Now, I want 10 clients. I want to work with 10 aligned humans and all the things. Number 2, we're going to drop the deadline, even if it makes your inner type A twitch a little. Number 3, we're going to anchor your why and return to it when your motivation wanes. Number 4, we're going to build rituals, not checklists. So we're not going to must do X by Y. We're going to create daily and weekly rituals that move you toward the goal. And number 5 is let it take the time that it takes. Let it take the time that it takes. Because here's the truth. Rushing is rooted in fear. When you trust the vision, you trust the process. When you are rushing, you are rooted in fear. When you are putting strict timelines on yourself, it is generally because you have something happening in the background that causes this timeline to have to be rushed. You have bills that you have to pay. You have the corporate culture that you would so desperately want to get out of. You have, maybe you're in a toxic place and you need, quick resources to move forward. And those are things to have during that time. But if you, again, we're coming right back to the ego. If you are forcing the hand, if you are rushing, it's rooted in fear, but it also is not going to turn out how you wanted. And now, again, what are we doing? We're in the 5 sales calls a week, right? Do you see kind of the circle that it starts to perpetuate? The goal is inevitable. It is. You will reach that goal, but you have to have a flexible timeline. You have to be flexible because you are the timeline. Let me share with you a quick story of how this played out in my own journey. When I was leaving corporate, and when I say leaving corporate, I should have been out way sooner than I was. When my branch shut down, I took that as an opportunity to learn like what VAs do, what all of this side of the business looks like and how I could do that in my own life. And so I started to do my homework, right? Put together the pieces, and I had 6 weeks of unemployment. So I thought, well, I'll make the most of this 6 weeks. It'll be fine. And when I started to do that, I started to realize that, and I'm just going to share that when I say this is like, it's silly. It's silly to me because I should have never had these thoughts. I should have just went all in the first place, but I didn't, and we're here and whatever. So I thought to myself, well, I'm not done in corporate. I need to still be in a 9 to 5. This life cannot possibly be for me. It's for everyone else. Right? And so I started to look at jobs, and I even went into a whole different career. And I lost out on all of that time that I could have been creating the transformation because I was too busy thinking to myself that this isn't for me. This is for someone else. And so Cal and Co didn't come together on the original timeline. It literally came together because other things fell into place. And now looking back at it, it was the perfect time. But I didn't do the work that was necessary to make my goal happen then. And it's not that I needed to put timelines on myself. It's that I literally didn't allow the transformation to take place then because I thought it was for somebody else. And I didn't do all of the homework and follow the little nugget trail. And same thing with Little Martha's. When I had this vision for Little Martha's as a full bakery, I thought it'd be open years ago, and I had dates circled in my planner, and the reality is that it failed, and it failed because I got hurt. And then I realized that that is not what I want to do. But all of that to be said, even with Calico, here's what happened. I built my heart first. I built the mission, I built the community, and then I built the impact. And now the timeline doesn't matter because I know that I'm actually living in alignment. I know that every time that a client comes to me because it's a referral for someone else, that is my person. That is because they want to be in my orbit. That is because they heard, they saw, they experienced something from my client that is already existing. And this is the power of referrals. But all of that to say, when I decided in Cal & Co that I wasn't going to rush getting to 6 figures, I wasn't going to rush what the next move was going to be. Instead, I was going to focus on the people that I had here in my orbit now, in my community now, and the impact and the mission that I was making right now. Everything else started falling into place. So what do we do when we feel behind? What happens when You are mid-goal and you feel like you are behind. And here's what I have for you. Here's a quick mindset reset. You're behind according to who? Society? Instagram? Your 5-year plan? Most of those don't even know you in real life. Maybe you don't even know you in real life. Who are you behind according to? Are you growing or are you just grinding? Progress isn't always visible. Rest, reflection, learning, they all count. When you feel like you're doing nothing, you're actually doing something. Now, you can take that and, swing that to the other side of the pendulum, and there is a little bit of laziness, but sometimes we need to stop doing whatever it is, do something else, even if it's resting, for a little while. And my wonderful friend, Bear, she always says you need to slow down in order to rev up, and that's what she means. It's like you cannot make progress always grinding, because you can't even see 500 feet from what it is you're working on enough where you can then see the growth that is supposed to be happening. The growth happens when you're resting, when you're reflecting, when you're learning maybe even something different, which is why I always preach, have a hobby that is not even attached to your business. Like I crochet and I knit. I would love to get back into pottery. Those things have nothing to do with my business, but it has everything to do with my business. Because then when I come and I sit and I explore what it is that I would like to do in the next phase of my business, I'm able to do that with a clear mind, and I haven't been thinking about business all the time. What's still true, even if the timeline isn't? Ask yourself, what is still true, even if the timeline isn't? Maybe you didn't hit the goal by the deadline, but you showed up. You learned something. You tried, you grew, and that counts more than you think. Because all of these little things that you are not making the deadline by, but you learned something and you showed up and you did everything you possibly could, that sets you up for the next thing. Progress without peace isn't success. If you don't have peace about the progress that you've made, that to me is not success. That is just you living the daily grind. And you cannot build a sustainable business from a place of burnout. It's not a thing. It never will be. You will resent it, and it will come tumbling down on you faster than you can find a blockage for it. No one has ever built a sustainable business from a place of burnout. So here's your permission slip, friend. Set the goal, ditch the timeline, trust the process. You are not behind. You are becoming. You are not behind. You are becoming. Hey friend, thanks for hanging out with me today. If something in this episode clicked for you, I want you to shoot me a DM over on Instagram. The link is in the show notes. Let's chat about how you're making the messy middle work for you. If you loved what you heard, would you mind sharing this episode with a friend who needs to hear it too? And drop a quick review if you don't mind. It helps get the word out, and I appreciate it more than you know. Catch you in the next one.